And good afternoon. This is the Elliott Wave daily update for the S&P 500 being recorded on Tuesday, November the 11th at 1:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. First of all, in case you didn't catch it, I am apologizing for mislabeling this A wave as wave one. And whether or not it is or isn't, it is within a diagonal, ending fifth wave diagonal, and it's in minuet wave 5. And therefore, since it's that fifth wave, it needs to be an ABC. So first of all, thank you for those that brought that to my attention. You were absolutely correct. I did apologize in the comment sections earlier today, and I chalk it all up to a senior moment. I know that could be a chuckle, or maybe it's not, and some of you may think, oh my God, he's too old. But it's just one of those things where it just slipped my mind. Anyway, we are definitely, possibly have completed or very near completion of this A wave. We saw today where the market did continue to go up overnight, but then we really kind of declined right up to the opening. And what was interesting about today is that it took a while to kick in, but today was Apple's turn. So Apple basically did not participate in the strength of the rally that we had yesterday in the Nasdaq. When the Nasdaq went up, I think it was 500 points, and so primarily that was Tesla, and it was Nvidia, and there was some of the other stocks on the outside, and not necessarily Apple. Today it was Apple. So they moved into Apple. So again, remember, I've talked about this, that as we approach and get closer to year end, there's just a lot of adjusting, a lot of rearranging, a lot of position squaring in terms of what they're keeping, what they need to add to, what they want to show for the end of the year. And so I think yesterday was Nvidia. And then today, what did we see? Nvidia absolutely reverse what they did yesterday and end up back at 193. So yesterday was up substantially. I mean, even after hours in Globex, the stock got up to 201. And today it traded down, I believe, to 192 or something. So, again, total reversal. But I imagine it's going to come back yet again. This is the last one left. They have their earnings next Wednesday on the 19th. So some of the other ones today that participated, the banks were kind of lively again today. Excuse me. So, we saw that. Banks, we had Goldman Sachs, we had JP Morgan actually was down, but mostly Goldman Sachs and Bank of America a little bit. And we had some other stocks that were also participating pretty strongly that are within the S&P. So S&P got to do its little strong rally this afternoon. And the best that I'm going to count this again is still that it's still within the A wave, or it is just finishing the A wave up here at these highs. And we'll see, because of course we got Globex. It's going to start again in about an hour and a half. And so we'll see if they're going to continue to push it. I know that eventually we're going to get up, finish an A wave, we're going to come down in a B wave. So I'm going to continue to mark this as if that finished the A wave and we got the B wave to go. Now, yes, that was a big from yesterday, but it was a 3 and a 4 and a part of this first 5 up to produce wave A. So again, it will be a zigzag for the entire fifth wave, as all of them have been basically zigzags all the way up, and then of course down in that fourth. So with all of that in mind, either we're done, we're going to come down, and if we do, I think we need to be keeping our eye out for 38 to 50% is where I think that B wave can come back again, being that it is more of a zigzag and we're just pulling back off of 5 up. Then I think, yeah, we can come down to 62%, but more likely it's going to be right in here, 382 to 50%. And depending on where it stops, to be honest with you. So if we have some additional to go, well, then we'll have to raise this level, the fib line, and to include it all. But I don't think we're going to get too far over 68.85 or closer to 6,900 which is possible to put in the A wave and then come down to the B wave. But I don't think we're just going to do another runner here, making this AB. So that's kind of my point. I think that like this is all part of the A wave and the strong rally. And even if I'm pulling this open and we take a look inside, there just really haven't been. We kind of went up. That was our first pullback. Then we did a bunch, and that was the second larger pullback. So it can't be 1, 2, and the 3 and a 4, and then whatever. It's just not going to work that way. So I think that we might have the 1 here and the 2 here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of 3, 4. As ugly as it is, because it looks pretty much like it was impulsive down, but I'm going to have to mark it as an A, B, and a C, like the A down to here, the B up to there, and the C wave. And I know it doesn't look right because it's on the fifth, it's on the big chart, the hourly. So, but here, a little bit cleaner, we can see that there was the high coming down, A, B, and then the C. And then we get a 1, 2, 3, 4, and I actually do think that it finished. If we get a 3 and a 4, and we get this crazy little, again, diagonal going, and then we came down quickly. So let's see what happens here. I would think that yes, we could go up one more time, or we could just start to come down in the B wave, and we'll mark the A wave there. Otherwise, we got a little bit more, and then we'll start. So still obviously looking for the B wave, and I'm pretty sure that we'll probably get involved with that tomorrow as, again, we start to rotate. So as I said yesterday, it was the NASDAQ going up 500. Today, actually, it was the Dow. Apple is in the Dow. So that helped to power that up. United Healthcare came back to life today. So that helped to power up the Dow and also the S&P. So that's all today's factors. Now, again, what was interesting this morning was the market kind of playing around with the volatility triggers again. And we saw let me see if actually the spiders did actually break their volatility trigger, just barely. Then we took it and then never looked back after that. The volatility trigger in the spiders was at 679. And so that basically the low is 678.73. So technically, yeah, broke. But realistically, it was regained and then never looked back. So once it started to break above 680, it was then going above large gamma, and then it got above. Where did we go out today in the spiders? 683 with the high right here where we are. So what we would have above all this, again, seeing how these would likely come in the same place tomorrow. We still have large gamma positions. And so we still have, that call wall up at 700. So again, lots of room, and I do believe if they don't move it, it will get taken out, that call wall up there. In the SPX and the ES, this morning, the market was really playing around right at the volatility trigger, which in the ES was at 68.23. And here we have all the lows, 68.20, what was that, 30. And so through it all, we didn't really come down and break the volatility trigger. So that held, the volatility trigger was actually at 68.18. So, and it didn't even test it at any, well, it kind of got close, but not really. So that held. And so then on turning it back around and getting back up, it's held above actually also a large gamma position. And then we did a nice rally, haven't really got anything in between and we'll see how these numbers come out again tomorrow. But we're above 6,900 is where we start running into additional gamma levels. So that kind of kept the free flow going. Once Apple kicked in and there wasn't anything in its way, resistance-wise, to slow it down and put it to a stop. So that prevented some good or some downside from occurring. We did get some drawbacks here, but nothing too too out of line. And just taking a look at volatility. Volatility basically didn't fly away from us. The VIX itself was down due to the Dow, but the VIX future was basically up a nickel. So nothing really contributing on that front either. So how are we going to leave this? We're going to leave it that. We may have additional follow through to the upside. Our next resistance level is 68.85. If I had to attach something to that, is if this is like a fourth within this initial A wave up, I am going to go similar to this. I'm going to go up to that level and say that's the one. I'm going to run it over here to the 4, and you can see I do have additional, it's 0.618, very fair to say that it could stop there within the smaller fifth wave. And that's at 68.82, and then I have 68.85. And above that, I have 100% at 69.16. So again, once we get above here, now that's for the minuet wave 5, and that's where wave 5 would be equal to wave 1. And I've talked all along that I do not believe is going to complete it. I think it's just a resting point. And right now it's a little bit of a resistance point, maybe to finish wave A. If not, we can break above that with some strength. Then I don't think 68.97 is going to put any dent in this thing. And then we're testing 6,900 and above. And it's at 6,900 where we have our, as it's being left today, a large gamma level at that 69.23, 6,900 in the SPX. So all that remains good. And the rally and the overall picture remains good for this to continue. Moving back out to the hourly, I did have several people talking about or asking why I've not included, which I normally do, an alternate count, which would present if all of this ended and we're going to start sliding lower again. That is possible. Now, if it just came in out of the blue, it's going to be tough as to how I'm going to put all this together. And the only thing that I can offer as an alternate would be that this top, this high here, completed everything all the way up to cycle wave 3. That would have to be the alternate, because we're high enough now and within this final wave that outside of that would have to be that this is all done, and that's the high, so that's where it would have to happen. So again, we might get up there quickly without any pausing and other, like the ABC part, by just getting up to those numbers. And so there's other ways that I can look at this. I can say A and a B, and we're now in the C wave, and we're just going to start heading up. So we have alternates in that respect, but we're looking at it, I think when you're asking me for the alternate, it's if we're not going to go up and we're going to reverse and go down. That would be an alternate. And the only one that I can really put together here that's going to show a lot of lines if I take it out to the daily is that we're done all the way up. So it's minute 1, 2, 3, 4, and minute wave 5 would be up here at this high. And is it possible? Yeah. It actually is. And bringing it down there, kind of weird, but yeah, I could kind of put it in there, and it would be a 1, 2, 1, 2, and a 3. Oh, I figured it out before. I would do it again. This is 3, 4, and a 5, a 3, and then a 4, and then a 5 of all the way up. There would be the minuet wave 5, it would be the minute wave 5, minor wave 5, intermediate wave 5, primary wave 5, cycle wave 3. That's the alternate. And outside of that, folks, it's really performing quite well in terms of holding to a pattern and performing accordingly via that pattern. So to get a sudden reversal out of here, as strange as it's going to sound, again, here we are at the 100% level where wave 5 would be equal to wave 1. But if this were to complete here, then it's going to be telling us, right, this would be 68.85, let's call it. That high up here is 69.48. So we're talking about a 60-point spread here between there. Is that a failure? It would be a huge failure in my book. And if it was, then guess what? The only way we're going to know is this thing stops immediately and just absolutely flies, collapses, goes straight down. That's how we're going to know. So the prep is not there. In other words, it's like, well, if we break here and here and here, then that's going to produce that. From where we are to have that big of a failure, it's going to be news driven or geopolitically driven, and it's going to be something bad. That's where I would come from. If we're going to reverse from here to even declare that that's the end, I think it has to be something bad, something severe. Whether it's to the government, whether it's to globally, geopolitically, we have wars going on. We got a bunch of crazy stuff going on. Something crazy. That's all I can say. Otherwise, the market is performing pretty much in line with the wave pattern and with expectations. So this continuing to rally. And the boosts that we're getting, folks, here's the other thing. The boost that we're getting is nothing more than just a product of year end. That's how I'm viewing it, right? We get this strong move up just kind of out of the blue. Oh, okay, time to move in. So whoever it was decided, okay, today we're going into Apple and we're changing these positions and we're picking up this, and that. And they figure out how much they're going to do and they go in and they start doing it. And next thing you know, here we are. So that's really about it. Now, tomorrow, let's just see if we get, again, tomorrow is Wednesday. And I just don't think we're going to get these numbers. What we do have, no, actually, Wednesday is nothing. So tomorrow is nothing other than bonds are open again. So treasuries will be, doing their thing. But we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Fed officials, from Fed presidents to Fed governors, out speaking tomorrow. Not sure where, but it just said speak, 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 and speak. So that'll be tomorrow. Thursday, we're hoping, depending on if everything gets signed, sealed, and delivered, I still don't think they're going to be able to get those numbers out to us. But, we do have initial jobless claims consumer price index scheduled for Thursday. They're also listed as if they're not going to have them because the government is still officially shut. Okay, so that is it. And our next update will be tomorrow morning.